Hello, and welcome to Ukrainian black metal. This time we have not only one, but actually two CDs from one and the same band called Grave Circles. Why two? Well, let me just explain. First of all, this one called Tome II is the new album by this Ukrainian group and was released actually in May 2020 on CD. Digital version supposedly out already in 2019. Then a few months earlier I got this one, which is called Tome I, for review, and this was originally released in 2017 as a digital format and later on as CD. But because this was very old, well, it went into the queue. And when this new one came to be here for review, well, figured out two birds with one stone. So that's exactly what we are going through today. Not reviewing one, but two different releases. This band is interesting because it was kind of born out of the ashes of a band called... what it was. I'll show you actually, it's better that way, so I can pretty much guide you through the basic things before I actually unbox these ones. So even though Grave Circle is a rather new band from 2016, it has its history with a band called Goat Flesh. I also got a little bit background information via an unofficial source, so I'll get back to that in a bit. But first of all, let's take a look at this one. So Goat Flesh was a band from also Ukraine, seemingly black death metal. I really can't say I've heard the band, so I'm just here to lean on this information. But as it seems, the band already kind of got lost after 2016. Basically, that's where their last recording came out, but officially a couple of years later. Now, where this actually leads to the birth, or when the Grave Circles were born, is that these guys started Grave Circles in 2016, and as you can see, one of the other members, the guitarist, or ex-guitarist, is actually a previous Goat Flesh member, but has been got out of Grave Circles already a couple of years ago. Now, the current lineup is interesting because it features not only the other original Goat Flesh member Baal, but also a couple of other members joined a couple of years later, that is 2018, and these are members who have, well, at least the other one has their ties to Rauta, another good Ukrainian band, and another member of which doesn't have band links here. And then also Baal has its ties to Peste Noire, the infamous, controversial French metal band. But we're not talking about those other projects, but Grave Circles. So pretty much here it is recap. Two reviews out and nothing else. But like these other bands kind of prove the point, well, this is not as inexperienced as a band as it may look like, basically, if you just look at the Grave Circles site. Anyway, back to the unboxing part. So let's start with the Tome I. This was originally released as an MCD, featuring some 18 minutes of music, but this reissue CD actually has twice the length because it has 3 live tracks here. As you can see, a couple of them are actually live versions of the tracks that are mentioned here, but there's also one other track. So a little bit recycling, surely, but I think it's worth the trouble because these live tracks are rather good sounding. So nice looking digipack with a kind of a stiff cardboard material. So quality work from Werewolf Production. And then we have this new release, which is more even so important because this is more fresh, released in May 2020 by Ladlow from France. And this is the full-length album we're mainly talking about. Now, I also got informed that these tomes were originally meant as a single release, but due to some circumstantial things, this kind of got split into two different releases. So I guess it makes a lot of sense to just feature both of these here. This is also a good looking digipack, like always, from Ladlow. Some kind of a glossy booklet with stories to be told in the form of lyrics, some nice, grim imagery, and a certain kind of a feeling which seems to fit very well the music of the band, which is black metal. And now we have this unboxed. Let's just go back to the Metal Archive site so you can take a look at this track list here. So first and foremost, this Grave Circles Tome I is as a kind of a basic version. It's this 18 minutes of melodic, kind of a diverse tempo black metal. It starts quite fast tempo, but in fact the band is not leaning on just one trick. So where is it feels like, okay, this is yet another fast tempo black metal, it quickly kind of slows down, fills this with interesting melodies and creates a night atmosphere. And to be honest, this is a quite strong debut release. And even with the twice the length and having those live tracks, this Tome I, which is here in different versions, is actually quite nice, but still a little bit bland in a ways that it's not really that captivating. So very much a kind of a typical debut release in the sense that all the basic ideas are there, all the elements are here, the production is quite nice, and those crawly vocals, well, you gotta get used to them even though they're not your typical black metal vocals, but it's just there to kind of give you an idea what this band is all about. Luckily, the band gets even better with the Tome II release, because this is even more diverse, even more, I guess, catchy in the terms of being melodic album. And like overall, this is all the parts are a little bit better than with the first ones. However, this is not without flaws either, because some of those riffs are rather, I wouldn't say stupid, but they're a little bit weird. So kind of acquired taste things. Mostly, I'm just enjoying this all the way through, and I really like what the band is doing with their kind of Slavic melodies, if you know what I mean. I'm especially referring to Polish bands. But there's something kind of Eastern European feeling with this band. Well, it's up for debate whether Ukraine is actually more Asian parts or some Middle East related than European, but I think it's kind of safe to say it's more Eastern Europe than anything else. And as such, there's something that kind of crosses the boundaries of kind of the Russian feeling, if you know what I mean, and also these kind of European, that is more Central European feeling. So it's kind of like what Istanbul is as a city, you know, the kind of a point where different cultures kind of meet and clash and become this metropole city. This is very much taking ideas from Central Europe as well as Eastern Europe with kind of a Russian veil, maybe, and that's how it incorporates into this full album, which is actually very, very nice. But like I said, some of those riffs are a little bit weird, or maybe even kind of goofy, and as such it might be something that is more or less disturbing to some people. Not all, I guess. And also, once again, those vocals are more into the growly and raspy, screamy side, which is there to give a little bit of this kind of a weird death metallic feeling. But nevertheless, this ain't no death black release. Let's just say this is like 95% of black metal, and the rest of that 5% could be called as death metal. So in essence, I think Grave Circles have done two nice releases, where Tome I is just like a good start, and Tome II is just picking up all the pieces and making it even better. However, with those little bit weird or sometimes a little bit off riffs, there's some room for improvement, definitely. But nevertheless, be it production, be it those vocals, be it about these faster parts or slower parts with these melodies and catchiness, the overall atmosphere is right there. So this is a nice surprise. Then again, I was warned about it. I was kind of given a heads up like, Jerry, it's rather likely that you will like it, and that's exactly what happened. So it didn't caught me out of blue like, hey, what's going on with this album? Definitely worth checking out. And in case you're wondering where to start, I would say start with the newer one. If you like it very, very much, Tome I is definitely up for a grasp. But I think it would be giving a little bit of wrong idea where the band is nowadays if you started with the first one. So that's how I would start it. Obviously, the band links are in the description box, so you don't have to go buy blindly just anything. Give it a listen, and I hope you will enjoy it. And if you feel like commenting or saying something about the band or this review, put your comments on the box below and I'll get back to you. Meanwhile, take care and enjoy some grey circles.